Hello, welcome to the stream. Oh god, I've had the mic on this whole time during the loading screen. Well, you probably couldn't tell because the thing was loud enough. Where is the tier list? Oh no. Okay, there it is. We're good. We're good. Okay. So, as you can see, today is a tier list stream. It is Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Let's change this to make it no crop. That's so much better. Yes, so I will be doing tier lists of all of these Iron-Blooded Orphans mobile suits, which is most of them, honestly. There's a few like all the various. Can I criticize your rankings? Sure. Although this is on a more serious note than that, because I know I know that you're joking about that. Well, I mean, partly are. Anyway, I know what you mean. I do want to mention I do mention this every single time I do one of these that, because the first time I didn't mention this and people got mad. This is just like the only thing I'm saying here. I'm not talking about which is more powerful or which is like objectively a better design or whatever. I'm just talking about which ones I like the most. So no need to like get angry at me for that. But we're gonna start off pretty strong with the poster child, and I did include all of the forms in Barbatos as in like this one. So this form 4 represents all the forms of Barbatos. I almost did 5th form ground type because I like the 5th form ground type a lot. Because I actually hate these stupid flat feet. They look ugly. They look horrible. They don't mesh very well with the rest of the design of Barbatos, in my opinion. Particularly after it doesn't have the bracer. The ground type feet are so much better in every way. I kind of hate these stupid flat feet. Flat feet are optimal. Flat feet are stupid. I do like the way that the ankle armor is attached. That's pretty cool, but it's wasted on this flat feet. So I almost included 5th form ground type so I wouldn't complain about that, but instead I decided to complain about it like a little bitch. But overall, there are some things that I don't like this part feels a bit thin to me. If that part was like thicker on the back, and also in general if it was like more covered up on the back, it would be a bit better, but it's definitely possible and possibly even likely that it's missing some of the armor. And then it is cool. I have mixed feelings about the like exposed waist. I just realized I haven't had only the Twitch chat has been loading. I just need to get the YouTube chat ready, because if anybody's been talking to me on YouTube and I haven't been noticing, I apologize. Is it gonna actually load up this time? Okay. Can somebody say something in the chat so that I know if the chat is actually working? Migration. Yes. Okay, so I can actually see YouTube chats now. So let me actually real quick see if I can double check. And see if I missed any chats. Okay, and I am going to the like thing to see if there has been any chats that I missed. Chat rate says 1, so probably not. It is not loading up, so I'm gonna have to assume that I did not miss any. I'm here so I don't miss anything. Would you miss some things otherwise? It is not liking that a lot. Anyway, the V-fin is like, it's not my type of design that I typically like, but it's nice the way that it is almost like a horn. It's almost like horns. Which fits really great with the whole like demon aesthetic. Well, not aesthetic, but like the whole demon vibe that it has. And it's nice the way, because Barbatos is has like a chin, you know. Barbatos is very simple. It does help, but it does kind of help it defeat whenever a problem was, though. I really wish it could small shield had I liked it. Ah, yeah, the like arm bracer. Yeah, that was. It is nice how it is kind of a shield. I'll be so sad with 1 out of 5 ads every 5 seconds. Oh, great. I mean, hey, for people on Twitch, you can get rid of the ads by subscribing to me if you want. But yeah, it's because Barbatos is said to have a beard. It's interesting the way that beard is mimicked with a large chin. I really like that detail. The large chin also, it makes a unique appearance for the face. And I actually do really like the backpack. It's also a pretty unique design. The shoulders, the way they're rounded, that makes sense for deflecting bullets and such. So that's pretty cool. One thing I do want to point out, though, is so many people are saying, oh, I wonder what Calamity War Barbatos looked like. It probably looked a lot like this, like Barbatos 4th form. It probably looked a lot like Barbatos 4th form, but probably with a gun. It was probably pretty much Barbatos 4th form with a gun. It probably wasn't very different. And if we do get a Calamity War anime, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when there's not like a completely new design for Calamity War Barbatos. So it'll be fun to see that what's it called? It'll be fun to see the like not feedback. I like backpack and the fact that it's small sub arms, if I remember correctly. Yes, it does have small sub arms, and in fact those are actually recreated somewhat in the high grade, and especially the master grade, but even in the high grade to an extent. I actually don't have the high grade of Barbatos, but I do have the high grade of Lupus. He's just in pieces right now because I'm custom building him. But overall, I think, because I don't know if I'm going to put him in A or B. Sub arms because he's an idiot. He's not the only one, apparently. Anyway, I'll put him in B for now. He might get upgraded to A at some point, but for now I'll put him in B. S? No, he doesn't go in S. On the other hand, the Grace. The Grace is one of my favorite, what's it called? Mass production mobile suits. So the head, the way it's shaped like that, almost gives it gives a predatory, almost shark-like vibe to it. I feel like it kind of does the, it does the exposed waist in a way that I personally like a bit better than the Gundam frames. And I do also really like these, like, cables here. They look nice. But it doesn't feel... I guess it probably is as much of a vulnerability as the Gundam frame ones, but it doesn't feel as much. Oh, thank you for the 1 cent, the two 1 cent, cheers on Twitch that I didn't notice earlier. I wasn't paying attention. I'm a favorite for my bio, but I have respect for working as Max Production Nemesis, probably A or B. So, the main thing about it that I really like, so pointed chests are always great. It's bad because they don't know how to reprint this. That is so true. I would love a normal Grace, but the legs are actually, Irex, welcome to the stream, and the legs are actually just what I was about to point out. So, the way that they kind of flow, the design kind of flows, and I think I mentioned before in several streams. I know I did in the Gundam Seed one because of the Civilian Astray. It's kind of a similar vibe, but it really flows. But then the way that this is an interesting shape here. The knee plate gives a bit of it's definitely a focal point for the legs, and it breaks up the shapes a bit, as does the ankle plate, and that with the heels, particularly the shape of that and the like sharpness there, gives it an almost knight-like vibe, which is very interesting. And you can definitely see that the Grace frame is based on the Valkyria frame. And I think for now we'll just put it in A, but it might end up actually going up to S later. Okay, technically, what was it called? I know this one. technically the Hemwage ring car, but it might as well just be the normal Helmwage, or was it Helm? It was Helmwage. It was, yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of this. It's definitely not the worst. I think these legs look really stupid. I'm sorry. I don't like them at all. I kind of hate them. Particularly this, well, I said legs, but not the feet, but the legs in general, and they look very stumpy for this, like, mobile suit. It gives it an ogre-like vibe, which I think is definitely what they're going for, but it's that I don't like it is the issue. It does what it's trying to do very well, but I don't like what it's trying to do. I don't like what it's trying to do. Sorry, but that weird, like, half cough. The cables and the arms are interesting. That gives an almost Zeta-like vibe. And I don't mean Zeta the mobile suit, I mean Zeta like the show. I don't like it, but it's S. What is what? If you don't like it, why would it go in S? I do like the way that the armor and the chest is here, which also gives it a very knight-like vibe, particularly with these vents here. And the horns also help for that, both the knight vibe and the ogre vibe, actually. But I'm only gonna give it a C. Okay, next one. This was, I think, the Sloic Grays, I think. So there's where do I begin with this one? I like the fact that it carries a huge sword, but never mind the feet. It just makes sense to stabilize. It does, but that doesn't mean I like it. It's like, wow, a mobile suit with feet I like less than Barbatos's flat ass feet. Amazing. But this one, it's like, it looks very utilitarian. And cheap, which it is. It's Zeke. It does look like Metal Gear Zeke. Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. But with a lot less armor covering the frame. And I do kind of normally I would dislike that lack of armor covering the frame, but for something that's trying to be as cheap as possible, like taking the cheapest possible frame pretty much, and then equipping only the armor you need to, that makes sense. And this is, I'm gonna go ahead on a limb. Who designed this? Let me see if I can find out. It's definitely either Takayuki Yanase or Kanetani Ibikawa. But I'm not sure which. It's a Kanetani Ibikawa design. I'm not surprised. But yeah, so it does make a surprising amount of sense for something that's supposed to be like really super cheap. I do wonder what the effects of actually having the frame touch the ground are. Probably not very good. But I don't have much to say about it other than that. It's gonna go in B. Looks nice like the head. Yeah, the head is definitely a standout feature. I want to do that after the normal Vul. Okay, which one was this one called? It was this one? I might remember. Hang on. I also might have to look it up. It wasn't okay. There were a few that I have trouble remembering the names of because I've only seen them a few times. Robot feet. Backseat me. Backseat me in the wait, no, this one was Higenti. I remember now. That's just sex. Uh-huh. No, Higenti was the one with the swords. Hang on. I'm gonna have to look it up. I think it was in the 50s. Was it? I think it was it Murmur? I think it was Murmur. Yeah, it was Murmur. Okay, Gundam Murmur. I have no idea what these are. Normally, if it was in UC, I'd say they look like eye-field things, but... so there's a lot to unpack here. It has an almost fairy-like appearance. Giant box cutters. I was about to mention that they're like box cutters or that kind of hobby knife. And I'm almost certain that's where the inspiration comes from. I'm not sure how I would use those wings, because I doubt those are funnels. But it's, in general, it's like the parts are somewhat similar to normal Gundam frames, like say Bale or Barbatos, but they, in general, like the way that this like goes like it has like this curve and then another curve and then another curve and another curve, or the way that these are like the way they flow, it gives it a much more fairy-like appearance. Primitive wires. Ah, okay, so probably I can only use them in space. It's very smart. This is the smartest Gundam. This is the Gundam that works out in the gym. Similar to the blade of Hashimo, but bigger. Ah, okay. Can he use it in the ground, though? Because Hashimo could use his on the ground, but the wire, like, I feel like if like a wire that would actually be able to support the weight of these would have to be like so thick, and I doubt it is. I do really like the skirt, which also helps with the fairy-like aesthetic. I think these are a bit extreme, but they're still pretty cool. That kind of giant head is peak mechanical design. It really is. It reminds me of like the Ewak mobile suits, like the Ewak Isaac. And I will give it B, but above Barbatos, I think. Okay, Bale. I think some of you know my opinions on Bale already. So wings are great. Wings are always great. It's like a B since it has a big bottom. It is kind of like a B, actually. But in a lot of ways, Bale is like a bit like simple. Like the shoulders are, they're a very nice size. They're very proportionately good with the rest of the body. The head is a bit plain, but it definitely does the like the demon aesthetic pretty well. And then the fact that it has swords, they're not pictured here, but swords are always great, always. And it dual wields, which is another plus. And it's got a sharp chest, and also good. I like the way the like chest is a bit concave here. That's very cool. The feet are like, I feel like for a flying design, the feet are a bit heavy, and for once the like waist being gone actually makes sense, because if you actually look at the weight comparisons, even with these big wings, I think this could probably be used for space. That feet don't look like they support this using ice to struggle. Oh yeah, Murmur probably is for space, I would guess. But Bale, I think even with the big wings, I think Bale is still lighter than Barbatos, which makes sense since it has to be light since it flies in atmosphere, and that's not an easy feat. As people who are fans of early Seed and early Universal Century are well aware, and particularly with the gritty grounded feel that Ironblooded Orphans also has, it makes sense that it would be lightly armored. I do also really like the railguns in the wings, and then like this little flap here on the back of the legs. It's perfect. It's just perfect. It's a little heavier than fourth form. Well, it's even being a bit heavier than fourth form, it does also have those massive wings. So if you took the wings off, I'm sure it would be quite a bit lighter. That's probably like a quarter of the Mosu's weight is just the wings. Also, the red eyes are interesting. We don't get red eyes in a Gundam very often. I actually do have the high grade of Bale. It's at the top of my thing. The V-fin looks nice. It does look nice. I'm actually a big fan of like non-standard V-fins, particularly V-fins that aren't gold. Nothing against gold V-fins. It's just that they're almost always gold. So it's nice for there to be a change, you know. But this is gonna go in S, of course. And another Gundam frame. Gundam Gremory. This one's definitely kind of Tanibikawa design. You can tell just by the line art style. But I really like this like fin there. The shape of the shoulders is very interesting, very cool. It's actually not that dissimilar to Exia, honestly, but just the proportions tweaked a bit and made like kind of rounded. Beautiful woman, so true. It's nice the way that they made like a Grim Reaper aesthetic, but like making it so it was like on accident in universe, with the like anchor turning into like a scythe. Because I don't think it's even... I haven't read Armored Orphans Gecko yet, but I don't know if it actually, like, mentions the, like, it's still called a combat anchor. It's not called a scythe. But it's definitely supposed to invoke a scythe, particularly with the, like, the combat hood. I also... Grummery might have my favorite head of any Gundam from Armored Orphans. It'd either be Grummery or, Bale. But also, I love these feet. These are my favorite Gundam frame feet, for sure. It is that kind of, like, slightly crazy. Grummery's legs are similar to Turn A Wampod. They sort of are. They are in the way that, like, this part goes so forward and is, like, over twice as long as the heel while it's still being heels. In that way, it is similar to the and the way that the knee goes up. It is similar to the Wodom, the walking dome, but it's got a similar, like, setup with the chest armors as the I just said it earlier. Helm Witch. It's got a similar setup with the armor there as the Helm Mage, surprisingly. But the different details make it feel very different. Also, the claws are quite nice. They're, for my opinion, for what the design is, they're like the perfect size. And then also, with the various armors around here, it also helps to make the torso a little bit less exposed, and I really like these little thrusters. The Dead Side of Armored Orphan is such a beautiful lady. Can't believe I hated this at first. I don't even remember you hating it, honestly. But this is definitely going to go in A. I almost want to put it in S. Actually, I think it might be above the grays. Okay, next. The, what was it? It was 04. Gam again. I can remember because it's similar to Gamlin, as in the Macross 7 character. But I really like a lot of things about this. So I think this weapon is a little bit silly, but it definitely works with Armored Orphans. Gatling gun makes sense for Armored Orphans. I'm actually surprised we didn't see a Gatling gun before this. But right here, this part of the arm, I think looks kind of dumb. But that's the only part of this I don't really like. The big armors here at the tank class, for sure, yeah. The big armors here I think could be a bit smaller, but they're still very cool. And the big knees definitely make this feel more tanky. Reminds me a little bit of Ultra Magnus. Oh my god, you're right, it kind of does. When they release a kit of this, these parts are going to be stickers, and these parts are going to be stickers, and people are going to complain about it, and that's going to be funny. These parts are probably not even going to be stickers. There's going to be nothing there. The legs are nice. The legs are nice. They're definitely very, like, tanky. Because of how tanky it is, I really do wish that the torso and the back of this leg were a bit more covered up. But one thing I really like is how the head, with that, like, the way that you can just see one dot for an eye, it gives a skull-like vibe, which we haven't seen that much in Ironblooded Orphans with like a skull aesthetic or a skeleton aesthetic very much. And it's surprising that they went with the skull head vibe with the the big beefy mobile suit, but very cool design. And I do like that. I would guess that there are thrusters here, and that's why the shoulders are so wide, which makes sense to try and give this fat thing as much mobility as it can get. And I'm going to give it probably right there. Okay, next, Hajiroboshi. So I am a bit mixed on these, like, almost hoof-like legs, but they're still very cool. It's just sometimes I think they kind of look stupid, but then my brain goes, oh wait, no, they're cool. But I do like the way that this, like, back piece of the like heel flares out a bit. I really like this, like, the back skirt armor, the way it's like these, like, thrusters. I love the V-fin so nice. Yeah, the V-fin also, we don't really see this like 3-part V-fin very often, and it does look very nice. And then beautiful button feet. These like ankle thrusters are, I love these a lot. The knees also are very cool. It's more like a paladin. It actually does have a paladin-like vibe, yeah. Particularly like the way these shoulders are reminiscent of medieval knight armor. But what I really like is this chest, the way it like points. That's very nice. And then also the arms feel like a more streamlined version of the Barbatos' arms. And these fins coming off these, like, the back thrusters are, you can't really see them very well. You can see a bit of it there and a bit of it here, but I really like those a lot. What is nice about Ironblooded Orphans is that all the line art always looks like the mobile suit does in universe. And the reason that I actually bother to mention that is most of the time I can't actually like base it on the line art. Oh, I also really like the shape of these, like what's it called? Front skirt armors. It is also very funny when they release just the what's it called? When they released, there was like a new project they were doing, and they released the silhouette of this. A lot of people thought it was Calamity War Barbatos when they were making Calamity War anime, and I can see why. It does sort of have a similar silhouette to Barbatos in some ways. But so the reason I bother to mention it is that this is the line art for the Rising Freedom. Chest point's kind of similar to Barbatos Lupus. It is kind of similar, but this part on the top makes it have a different feel, especially with this like more curved part compared to Barbatos Lupus. So it is similar, but it has a different feel, and I actually like this more. But what I was saying is that, so that's the line art. But then if we look at a picture of the high grade, which is better representative of how it looks in the movie, that's how it looks. And that's such a difference. That looks so cool, and this kind of doesn't. So in a lot of the tier lists, I end up having to make it so that like I'm not actually talking about the line art. I'm using the line art to point out aspects of the design that I like in how the design is, which is usually it's ones that are designed by Kuno Kawada, because a lot of his designs look very cool, but he is not that great at line art. But it is nice that with Ironblooded Orphans, I basically never have to do that. And I do want to mention, like I did when I was actually doing the like Gundam Seed one, that I'm not saying that's anything bad about Kuno Kawada. Kuno Kawada is one of my favorite mechanical designers. It's just that line art is not exactly his strong suit. But this thing is going to get a right there. I'll put that over there, just because I don't want to do so much of that particular frame all in a row. But the Gundam Asmodee / Asmodeus. So these feet, I get why some people like them, but I don't. I really don't. They're worse than Barbatos' feet for me. I do like the way that it changes the way the design is it's a very like it's an A design. See? And several of these like Ironblooded Orphans designs are, like even Barbatos is to an extent. So it's like very much an A, and I think actually a lot of the what's his name? The guy who designed this. Well, I can't remember his name. Whatever. But a lot of his are. It is kind of funny that some of these details, like this leg is looking a bit wonky. Like I think this line art was a bit rushed. But overall, it mostly looks like what it's supposed to. But I do really like these arms. It's got this like standard. What's the guy's name? Ippei Gobyo, that was it. It's got these standard Ippei Gobyo hands. Like if you look at the Moon Gundam, same hands. If you look at like his work for Jiruko, it's the same hands. He draws like his hands always have this specific vibe to them, and this very much does. But I do really like these this dual tiered vents here, and the head. This is like, if it was just these parts and not this like weird membrane part, I would think it would look a lot cooler. But I do really like the faceplate and the interesting chin guard. And then these like forward pointing horns are almost Cerevi like, and we don't see those often. I do like these shorter shoulders, but the vents here and then these definitely break up the silhouette a bit, and it's a very nice design. I think this knee part looks kind of dumb, but it works with the design, so it's fine. Ballistic talon fuzz. They are. The arm thing, Countermine, Big O, and the piston-like weapons it has. I haven't watched the Big O, but from what I know about it, I think they are somewhat similar. But yeah, the ballistic Tonfas, I think they can act as pile drivers, maybe? I don't remember, but most of this supposed to be Tonfas for sure, but they're very interesting. If I recall, they use, they were originally supposed to use, what's it called? Dynslave technology. I think I remember reading something about that. They do? Yeah. The mechanical design, or like detail here, is interesting. And it does make sense that it might not need to protect that as well, especially since this is a close quarters combat mobile suit. So they can act as bunker buster type weapons. Ah, yeah. So with something like let's say, what's a good example of this? Actually, the Greys, unfortunately, as much as I love it. So the Greys, like this, makes less sense than this one that is almost as exposed. And the reason is because the Greys is an all-range mobile suit, so it's more likely to get hit by like a round of gunfire there. Whereas the Asmodee is a close quarters combat mobile suit. So I feel like it's less needed to protect areas like that, or especially here, because nobody's probably going to actually hit that in melee combat, and this thing is intended to get in melee combat before it has a chance of being hit in the first place. I do really like this backpack. It's interesting, this weird like floating collar that some Gundam frames have. I'm not sure why, but it is pretty neat. I will say these parts here could probably be not good for melee combat. But it's got that like the like blocky parts that make like a curved shape that Ippei Gobyo is very fond of. But overall, it's gotta be C. But it does go above that. Actually, I just realized I'm gonna have to put this down in D. And Asmodee might have to go there as well. It's like, it's got a lot of design aspects that I really like, but they don't come together in a way that I'm particularly fond of. But next is the second form of the Hachiroboshi. So it keeps a lot of what I like. I almost didn't include this because it keeps a lot of that. So it's got a lot of the same aspects like this, but I do like the red paint there and there. The head's just the same. It's got the same like entire legs. Mostly it's the lighter shoulders and this that's changed, and I actually like both of those changes. It does have a somewhat of a less paladin-like aesthetic, but these are almost like wings, honestly. They're like reverse wings, upside-down wings, which is very cool. And it overall has a lighter vibe to it, you know, lighter and faster, which is cool. We always like that. But this one also looks a bit rushed. Like these legs, it's like you don't notice it at first, but like they're just not quite how they should be. And this is definitely smaller than this one, despite the fact that it's supposed to be the same size. So I feel like this was for sure a bit rushed. So the design is very solid, but it's like the line art's not great in different ways than, say, Kuno Kawada line art. But these parts being exposed actually is fine for a different reason. It's fine because that's not part of the original design specification. They got the Batman grapplers in them. Yeah. I actually also really like this style of like vent. That's very, very cool. But yeah, so this one, it's like there's not much else to say about it except everything else to say about it I have already said there. But I think it does manage to just barely go above Gremory. Okay, Gundam Vool. So I'm going to get this out of the way. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. I hate these stupid suction cup looking ass feet. I really don't like them. I honestly don't even know why some people do. I can't understand it. They just look really dumb to me. I don't even get what the point of them is supposed to be. But This weapon is very interesting, even if it does kind of look like a paddle. This thing needs a canoe. They are dumb, indeed. So, I do like the way that this part is there, and it makes sense the way that, like, you can see the frame there, because it was like, whoops, crap, no, I went to the wrong page. Okay, we're back, we're good. I accidentally clicked one of my bookmarks that you can't see up there. But the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, this one was, like, found just, like, floating around in space. So it makes sense that it's, like, not fully equipped because they didn't have, like, they couldn't, basically. I really like these eyes. That's a very interesting eye shape. The V-fin is interesting, but that doesn't mean I like it. The canoe so I can fight the alligator mobile armor. Indeed. I do wonder where this weapon came from in the first place. But the chest is also interesting. This is definitely an Ipegobio design. You got those like Ipegobio hands. But yeah, there's not that much else to say about it. I also don't love it. It's pretty cool though. We just found floating in space. Well, that's just unresponsible. We don't even know what happened to it or how it got there. It just was. Okay, which one was this one? It's one of the ones that this one, if I remember, this one was like leaked early and nobody believed that it was real, and then it was, which is kind of funny. Which was this? Was this one Zagan? I think it was Zagan. Crab hands, indeed. I think it was Zagan. With him, model code, I love the design. I love the shield type crab arms. Looks awesome. It really does. The feet are like, they're very aggressive design. Yeah, this one's Zagan. I really like these like knee parts here. And then these arms are actually, these might be my favorite arms of any Gundam frame right here. They've got this like that like sort of design I really like. The shoulders are interesting. It helps to give it that like aggressive like beefy appearance. Some people thought it was a Valkyria frame, which is needlessly infuriating. Yeah, it clearly isn't. I mean, you can just look at the shape of the spine that easily. I mean, the armor looks like Valkyria frame armor. But yeah, it's definitely not. But this has got to be one of the most well-armored Gundam frames we've gotten, which kind of makes it upsetting that they left the, like, waist open. It would have made so much more sense to just, like, have a bit of armor there. So that's kind of infuriating to me, actually, but otherwise, I do really like this design overall. Lucilia, hello, welcome to the stream. But yeah, the big crab arms is very, very nice. And also, again, I'm a big fan of non-standard V-fins. This is a very unique V-fin. And it also helps with that, like, crab-like vibe. I do wonder if this was intentionally made to be a crab, or if it's, like, a Gundam example, everything turning into crabs. But, this one is going to get, let's say, bottom of A. Okay. Barbatos Lupus, back to another hero suit. So, we've got another, like, pointy chest. That's nice. Very nice. And this is, like, the most detailed, Gundam frame liner. I don't know why they made this one so detailed, but it is nice that it is. I feel like this does a good job of incorporating some design elements from the flat space-type feet and but mostly the, why does it not count my 46,753 month streak? I do not know why. But it's got that, my favorite the Barbatos looks better or the Barbatos forms, it's just perfect. So it is definitely my favorite Barbatos form, spoiler, but I'm a big fan of like arms that go behind the or like behind the what's it called, the elbow. Thank you for the heart emojis. But it keeps these thrusters from the Barbatos, which is very nice. It is also interesting that this one is actually a close quarters combat mobile suit, because I don't know if a lot of people notice this, but Barbatos isn't even a close quarters combat mobile suit. It's like an all-rounder mobile suit that Mikazuki just uses like a close quarters combat mobile suit because that's how he wants to. Which I actually really like. I'm not like criticizing it in any way in that. I really like that detail about the show. But oh, we've got some attempted cross-platform communication going on here. How will that work out? But I really like these thrusters. These are one of my favorite aspects about the design. And all the like vents are interesting. Whoa, the cross-platform communication succeeded. And then also these like claws are very nice. They're about the perfect size for a claw for like a standard mobile suit. And it makes the chin even larger, which is nice. And it overall increases the complexity of the design a bit. I had the little vision. Indeed. So this thing is definitely going to get into A. I think right here is probably good. And then actually I don't want to do, wait, no, this is the wrong one. Pink Gundam. Pink? Where? Where are pink? Where are you seeing a pink Gundam? I mean, there are pink mobile suits here. This one's pink. I guess that's like a bit aggressive to be pink. It's almost more of like, what's that called? I knew you were a homing pigeon. A homing pigeon? There's a question, not a statement. Oh, well, it didn't have a question mark. How was I supposed to know? And then as far as other pink mobile suits, there's this one. That's not the right one. This one is like half pink, half purple. This one's a bit too dark to be pink. Mom, you have to sense everything. Well, I can't. This one's pink as well. Pink and purple and white. First pink was pinker, yeah. And I think that's all the pink ones. Anyway. Astaroth. Third one was nice. It's actually one of my favorites. We'll get to it when we do. But I do really like a lot of aspects of this. It does the like asymmetrical thing quite well. It also, this is like not nearly as bad as the like weird suction cup feet. But this like armor plate missing is an interesting detail, and I really like that it's done. Like it shows like that there's like the armor that goes on top of the Gundam frame is not just flat armor. But I really like these like thruster things here. I like them even more than the even more than Lupus Barbatos Lupus's. You can see once again we've got Ippei Gobio hands because it's designed by Ippei Gobio and it has his style of hands because it has to. I think it was called the Bastard Chopper is like a very interesting weapon. The V-fin is one of my favorite Iron Blooded Orphans V-fins. In general, the head looks pretty interesting. And then this like big hand shield thing is also very interesting. That's the main thing that does the asymmetrical vibe pretty well. And then also this like thruster here is amazing. I love that kind of thruster on the back of knees. I live for it. I will say the pelvis is a bit pointy. Is he happy to see us, or do you have the Magic Girl Hyakuran on here? I do not. If you wanted me to include it, oh, actually, I should look that up. Show Lucilia. That is the most Gundam out of all the others in IBO. Yeah, because it does have the mouth vents, which most don't. Okay, Lucilia, are you are you ready for? Keep in mind, this is a mobile suit in like one of the like most dark and gritty Gundam timelines. Ta-da! The Atra Hyaka. I didn't include it in the tier list because I decided not to. I don't even know where I would put this. I would either put it in D or A, and I don't know. It wouldn't go in C or D, though. I mean, not D. It wouldn't go in C or B, though. It's you, indeed. I forgot this existed. I forgot it existed, too, until I was downloading line arts for this. Because I've been, like, downloading high-quality line arts for all of these. Which you would notice in, like if I go to this and then compare it to the one that's on the Gundam wiki, if it will actually load up. The one on the Gundam wiki is like, it's noticeably lower quality. It's like significantly lower quality. Like this is so much higher quality than this. It's like, it's insane. So I've been steadily getting a collection of high-res Gundam line art. So if anybody needs them, if anybody needs high-res Gundam line art of any specific mobile suit, I've got you. Anyway, this one's going to go in at the top of B. That sounds good. Okay, Astaroth Origin. I think this was like something like 80% its Calamity War version. So the shotgun is interesting. Oh, we don't see that a lot. I think using the scabbard of a sword as a like crushing weapon is kind of dumb, but it's, I mean, I do really like the nano laminate gamma sword. Again, I hate these feet. These are literally the same ones, not just the same type, but the exact same ones on the Vul because they were like pilfered from this one. It's got a very interesting and aggressive face. I really like particularly the mouth plate is very interesting. And then these like give like somewhat Eva-like vibes, Evangelion-like vibes here. These like binders here. And once again, Ipe Gobio hands. Because it has to. The feet slap. Really? I think that's called a kick. But I really like this like piece of armor there. And then also the way that like the legs flow. It almost doesn't feel like they flow at first, but they do. And it being red is an upside, so we'll put it at the very bottom of A. Okay, the Vul Yuhana. Finally, it doesn't have the stupid, ugly suction cup feet that I hate. This is like this is the highest res liner I could find of it, honestly. The big anti-material rifle is very cool. I do really like this like thing on the back of the head. This one honestly doesn't even look like a Gundam. It just looks like a grunt suit. But you can't even tell this is the Vul, like at all. I'm the EP child with robot yapping, please. Okay. Still S. I do like the shield. Oh, saying it looks like a grunt was like not a like. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. The feet almost look inflatable. I can't say it now. These are like an inflatable like lifeboat. They put inflatable lifeboats at the bottom. First time I saw this, I thought it was an OCMS someday for IBO. Actually, you know what? It really looks like it. And of course. Oh, we can't zoom in there. Ipe Gobio hands. It's got a very fat face for a Gundam. For an Orphans Gundam. The chainsaws in the back of their arms are fun. Chainsaw? I didn't even notice that. Wait, let me take another look. Oh my god, I didn't notice that. That's very cool. That actually unironically takes it up from, like... It takes it up to there. It really looks like it'd be some utility mobile suit. Yeah, exactly. It looks like it'd be like just like a mass-produced grunt unit for like maybe somewhat of aces. Anyway, I'll put that over here, and maybe I'll put that over there. So Gujion Rebake. I really like the way the legs flow. Once again, I always like that. The feet are like a bit like boxy for my taste, but it's still pretty cool. This is like, it's a somewhat similar thing to like shape-wise to the Hajiraboshi, but I don't like it nearly as much. I do really like these like backpack parts. And the head is one of my favorite unlimited Orphans heads, actually. It's got that like floating collar that some of them have. Kind of funny, like you bother to armor the back of the neck, but not the torso. And this is definitely a Takayuki Yanase design. I don't even remember looking it up. I don't think I did ever look it up. But you can tell. It's got that like the way that these are like these rough shapes here and then these curves here. And the way the line art is drawn, that's Takayuki Yanase. And also the head, that's a very Takayuki Yanase head. But this is definitely one of the more well-rounded in terms of like design, despite the fact that there's a lot of curves and a lot of like straight lines, and they go together quite well. And it's going to get B right here. No, I don't like it as much Barbatos. I like it just barely less than Barbatos. As for beautiful, the backpack parts look like legs from Erodi, the original Gujion. Actually, hang on. Hang on. They're not from the original Gujion. Let's look at the Rodi. If it's let's see if it's like actually just like directly taken from it. It's probably modified versions of it at the very least. Okay, it looks like it's not just directly taken from. It's probably as modified versions of the armor of the Gujion then. I'm very curious what Calamity War Gujion looked like, because it probably didn't look like this green frog. But yeah. Next, Marcosius. I love Marcosius. These things on the feet are kind of dumb, but that doesn't matter because they're cool. The sub-arms there give a nice silhouette. Particularly, it gives like an almost 4-wing silhouette with that. As these also add to the like pointiness of the silhouette. The V-fin is one of my favorite V-fins in all of Gundam, actually. Particularly the bit of red there really makes it stand out. And you know, it's got a ton of swords. Of course, I like it. Marcosius gave PTSD to a mobile armor also. Yeah, exactly. I really like the way that the chest is here. It's very compact, particularly with these like fins. But it's like it feels very compact. It's actually possibly my favorite Armored Orphans torso, and it actually armors up the waist while keeping the like vibe. I love that. The only part I don't really like is this part feels a bit like it kind of feels like crumpled paper, but not really an issue. But yeah, this one, I also really like this shield. Marcosius is possibly the one I would pilot. Either Marcosius or Bale, and it's definitely go there. HG is overhated. I'm going to get the high grade as soon as I can. I don't actually even know which one to put on the top. I think I'm going to put Marcosius at the top for now. We have a new top of S. Your crumpled paper, okay. Okay, Astaroth. Oh, not Astaroth Resonamento. Where's the model cat at the cape? I mean, you can make one out of fabric yourself. Honestly, plastic capes, plastic like fabric pieces for Gundam, like for the Master Grade Exia repair, they suck. Whenever there's a plastic piece that's supposed to be fabric in the kit, I always replace it. But once again, Ippei Gobio hands. It has to be that way. So, this like, actually I think he goes even further on the asymmetrical aesthetic, even though technically it is slightly more symmetrical, I think. So these parts are the same, even though this is like colored blue. We got the hated feet. I do really like, so all the weapons on the backpack are very cool. This like one side of the V-fin being like that is very cool, actually. I like that a lot. This part feels very utilitarian in a very cool way. And it's still got that part there. I really like this, like, the arm bracer thing. That's very cool. Oh, it's like actually not related at all. But today I got in my high grade second V, aka my favorite thing from Victory Gundam. The left leg's thrusted belt Is it wait? The left leg thruster is a belt with a poo sticker. That's great. Oh no, guys, that's a sticker on the model kit. That means the model kit sucks. There's a sticker on it. No. This just feels like it should have bullets. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I think these are just like basically like bolts to like keep the armor in place or whatever. But they almost feel like chest Vulcans, kind of like the Impulse. I also really like this armor piece. It doesn't feel, I wouldn't think I would, but I do like it quite a bit. I like it just a bit more than the normal Astaroth. Well, no, maybe a bit less. I like it almost the exact same amount, actually. We'll say I like it a bit less. Okay. Gundam Zepar. Now, this one is the one that really feels like a Valkyria frame. So, I can't zoom in on this one. The head is it's got another one of my favorite Ethans. I'm not actually sure exactly what's going on with these like shoulder parts, but I know they're cool. Feet, another one of my favorite feet designs. It's got a similar vibe to the also kind of Tiny Biko designed Gremory. The chest with the white cross is almost reminiscent of the Turn A. I really like these like armor parts there. It's surprising this is one of the earlier ones. Absolutely wonderful. That is so true. I really like the face a lot. It's a shame that I couldn't find high-res line art of these. The leader of the Valkyria frame look alike. Yeah, indeed. But also these knees are one of my favorite knees in a Gundam frame. So this one definitely gets to be S tier, just barely below Bale. So far, all the S tiers are Gundam frames, surprisingly. Next. The frog. Be so gorf. But despite being a frog creature, it still has Ippei Gobyo hands. Huh, that's some weird like artifact in there. You guys can't even see it. It's like all blocky for me. But anyway, it's got very short legs. I really like the idea of showing this creature machine mobile suit, and then it's like this is a Gundam, and it's like what? Hang on. The backpack of the Gujian remake might actually be these armors. I'm not sure. Anyway, actually that's Bulkhead. This does look like Bulkhead, actually. But I do actually unironically really like the head. These, if this wasn't Iron Blooded Orphans, these would be scattering mega particle cannons. If this was in Universal Century, that's what these would be. I think they were just thrusters, but it's very fat, and it's like, what's really funny is that the high grade has an inner frame, but it's not the Gundam frame, inner frame. Its back is a very big shield. Ah, yeah. That part is very cool. Hang on, those shoulders. The shoulders feel very similar to that. It's so skinny on the inside and it's so bulky on the outside. Yeah, and I really like that because like you don't expect this is going to be a Gundam because it doesn't. What? That's a Gundam? But I can't afford giving it more than C. That's why shoulders are an Anchor MS, but I think, oh, another MS. I think it's some kind of Rhodey. Probably, literally the normal Rhodey. Yeah. No, not quite. I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, when it does that, it's not actually going to. I saw his left arm taken from a Rhodey. I don't think it's just the normal Rhodey though, because that doesn't look quite the same. Unless it's like at a different orientation or something. Yeah, it's not quite the same. The gauntlet's also taken from the Hyakuten side skirt. I didn't even notice that. But I really like these, Landman or Garm Rhodey. I think it's the Garm Rhodey. I think the Landman Roadie's armor is shoulder armor is the same. It's like almost the same. I think the only thing that actually changed is the legs, which is why I didn't include the Landman Roadie, because it's almost the same. But I again really like the head. It's got the interesting eyes that Iron Blooded Orphans is really good with. It's another frog creature. I actually unironically really like this gun. But again, Ippei Gobyo hands, a telltale sign that who this was designed by. Otherwise, I might not have even noticed. I really like this like pelvis and skirt. It's interesting you can still see some of the frame, probably because it's pretty cheap. But honestly, a lot of what I would otherwise have to say about it, I would say about that. But it's interesting that the legs, other than being thrusters, they're basically just landing gear. And that's a really interesting concept. What is that even? Where is the roadie? Oh, it wasn't time to do that yet. Okay. So, where to put it? It definitely goes above Gujian. Okay, this was the... Was it the Gabriel Scharfrichter? I think it was. Yeah, this is the Gabriel Scharfrichter, I'm pretty sure. I really like the head. It's one of the very interesting heads. And then the like butt thing as well. The legs are really dumb, and we'll get to that again with the. I'm not going to talk about how dumb I think the legs are, because I'll talk about that when I get to the normal gay rail. But I do really like the shoulders as well, and this part of the torso is very cool. That's class. But I don't have that much else to say about it. Right there. These have a similar vibe, honestly. Okay. I think it was the Graze Ritter. Yeah. Technically the Graze Ritter Commander type. I like this part here on the back, and it keeps a lot of the same, like, graze aspects that I really like. These thrusters here are great. The sword is cool. It could be longer, but it's very cool. I love these shoulder armors. And they work even better here than they do on the Barbatos, for sure. And then it's got even sharper heels, which is very nice. But it keeps a lot of what I already really like about the grays. And it's like the grays, but even better. And it definitely doubles down on that knight aesthetic, so it's going to go right there. The first non-Gundam frame to be an S. Okay, another, my back. I just stretched my back. I hate them. I know you hate them, but I don't. Which one was this? Was this... I don't think this had Rhodey in the name. I think it changed the word Rhodey, which is surprising despite the fact that it's mostly the same as the Rhodey. This was the Labris. I love this, like, weird submarine head. It's so stupid, but I love it. Didn't think you would include in this one. I almost didn't. But I had to compliment its weird submarine head. It looks like a submarine. And that's honestly almost all I have to say about it. The dark color scheme works well for it. It's almost Titans-like, but it's mostly the same as this one I was talking about. But I wanted to talk about how much I love that, and it does actually give it a nice, like, heavy mobile suit vibe. Okay, finally a Valkyria frame, and it is. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure I remember which one this was. Yes, the Waltrout. Or actually, Waltroute. Because the E should be, or no? Waltrout? No. I don't remember how it's, I don't remember if it's Waltroute or Waltrout. I think it's Waltrout. So anyway, it definitely has like the samurai aesthetic. So, we got these are very reminiscent of the shoulder shields on a samurai's armor. Even this, like, the way that the like front is like split, it's Psychopath Gundam, but even the way this like split is similar to the a samurai's sandals. The legs flow together very nicely. It's got a very interesting head, as do all the Valkyrie frames, of course. This pointy piece of armor here, and in general, the pointy aspect of, aesthetic of the chest is very nice. And the skirt armor here is interesting as well. And of course, it's got katanas, so that's an obvious boost for me. So it goes right here. Okay, the Outland. Another Valkyria frame. I really like this head. It's one of my favorite heads. It definitely keeps the like Valkyrie-like aesthetic with the the helmet horn things there. The like lance is like, it's a bit short for a lance, but it's very cool. It's possibly my favorite. This is probably my favorite feat in any of Gundam. Sigrun. Oh yeah, Outland is the other one. Outland is there. Sigrun. That didn't happen, by the way. I didn't mess up that. Anyway, Sigrun. I kind of wish I had the model kit of this. It's got that like point there. It doesn't look as nice as that, and this is definitely. I feel like this could definitely be more armored here. But the legs are the main standout to me with it. Particularly, like I said, these feet are possibly my favorite feet in all of Iron Blooded Orphans. And this is one of the ones where you can really tell this was the basis for the Grace frame. Beautiful woman. That is so true. They're all women. All the Valkyria frames. They're based on Valkyries, so they're all women. These like bit of like legs. I mean, as far as like these like bits to the sides of the knees, if I just quickly show mine, I think you can you can guess how I feel about those. But yeah, this one gets right at the top of A tier. Okay, Dantillion, or Dandelion, as I've heard him jokingly said. So it makes sense this one looks so weird, considering this is 71, isn't it? Yeah. So it does have some of my favorite arms of any Gundam frame. The bars are a bit weird, and I didn't include all the like different cowl versions because I didn't, basically. But this is like one of the most fully armored Gundams. I also really like the chest. The head is very weird though. It's got this little tiny frown. Scarecrow Gundam. It is kind of like a scarecrow, yeah. And then the feet are, I'm curious if it uses the same like weird ball joint, or not ball joint, the like weird like swivel joint thing as all the other high grade feet. Those make him special. They do make him special. I really like the fact that it's like a bit more armored than average, because that is a gripe that I tend to have with Iron Blooded Orphans mobile suits, is the lack of armor. Which like I wouldn't change it if I could, because that's what makes them special. But it is also a gripe that I have with them, so it's nice that this changes it. Except even with all the armor on like the arms and the legs, the waist is still unarmored. What the hell? That doesn't make any sense for this one especially. But anyway, it gets top of C, which means this, I'm gonna move that down to D. I'm gonna end up moving Gruul down to D as well. Okay, the XK. Or was it XK or KX? I think it was XK. It was XK, wasn't it? Yeah, definitely XK. So, actually, I want to do this one after I do the, where's the normal? I'll do Vidar right now instead. I'll just, like, swap them where they are. Okay, so, right off the bat, this is one of my favorite heads in all of Iron Blooded Orphans. It's got those, like, Cerebi, like, horns pointing forward, which is very cool. And, of course, the Ipe Gobio hands. The feet are very interesting with like the knives, and that's very cool though. And it's got thrusters all around. If this kit was made if the kit for this was made any earlier than it was, this would all be one piece. The backpack is one of my favorite backpacks in Unbuttered Orphans. It actually feels more like a UC backpack. The foil is not the weapon you'd expect from Unbuttered Orphans, but it makes a lot of sense. And it's very cool, especially these like the extra blades, because they're gonna snap. And then a lot of the other armor is surprisingly normal for an APW design. Best design from Unbuttered Orphans. It's so amazing with the weapons on its legs. The pistol's perfection. It's supposed to shut up more in combat. That is very true. Particularly the pistols often get overlooked, and especially its rifle. The rifle gets very overlooked, but I really like the design of both the pistols and the rifle. And then also the chest is pretty cool with like the point. And the shoulders they're not more than they need to be, and they're perfect. Everybody, including myself, was pretty surprised about the recent Master Grade announcement. But it's nice to see that we are getting a new Master Grade, and especially a new Ironblooded Orphans Master Grade. They're finally taking advantage of that Master Grade Gundam frame. So definitely an S tier. Right there. Sticking with our Galileo theme, I guess. Actually, I want to do the normal one before the Trooper. So not sticking with the Galileo theme. Okay, the Gujian Rebake Full City. I actually like this head as much as the other one, but for different reasons. This part looks a lot less cool, but then the face looks more cool to me. I like this like style of vent. Very interesting. Don't say that a lot. And then the like scissors are a neat weapon. These like arm parts on the arm consider a unique vibe. If this thing punched, I bet it would really hurt. It would probably hurt Gujian as well. And the legs are, I think, a bit thinner than the normal one, and the feet like are actually more boxy, but they feel more intentional. So I actually do prefer them to the normal one. And then I actually really prefer these thrusters. The thrusters look way better than the original, in my opinion. It honestly feels this feels less well designed than the original, but I like it more. Put it right there. I hate his model kit because it hates everything, including itself. Okay. Now the Oatland. It sort of does look like oatmeal, like the name implies. I am just joking though. But it's got like an interesting, like almost an Archer vibe, which I think it is definitely supposed to. It's got very nice legs. Very Valkyrie frame. The armor there is also very cool. It's interesting that like Ironblooded Orphans was going in a completely different like direction before the Gundam frames were introduced in universe, of course. But this is like almost like it feels refined. Like this is the kind of mobile suit you'd expect like nobility to be using. So like the skirt is very nice. This like arm cape almost feels like it almost feels somewhat similar to the Double Aquanto, because it's just like it's on one side and it's like the sort of shape. The armor here feels delicate, but it's definitely I don't think it's supposed to like get like in the thick of it. And this is an interesting take on the like V-fin-ish thing. But honestly, this would fit right in like a fantasy mecha show. But it also does still fit in well with Ironblooded Orphans, and it goes right there. Okay, this is where I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. So it is nice how it like becomes more animalistic. The including of Hashimel's tail was very cool. A lot of it's the same, like surprisingly similar to how Lupus, like all of right here is basically just the same. I actually don't prefer top cockpits, even though it's the same as like a lot of ones that I do really like, such as the 00 Gundam. To me, these like very circular shoulders. What's surprising is that these shoulders are almost the same as Lupus, but with different proportions. I like these ones a lot less, like a lot less. They feel very bald to me. And the V-fin, to me, personally, it's just too much. It's nice how it looks like a crown, though, since they're trying to be, like, the kings of Mars. And then it loses one of my favorite aspects about Lupus. The big arms are very cool. Not really my thing, but very cool. As are the claws. They would be... I wouldn't probably like them on any other mobile suit, but on this they're very cool. And it is my least favorite version of Barbatos. That's, I feel, exactly where he belongs. Okay. This one, you know what? We're going to do this one differently. We're going to put this one right at the bottom, and then we're going to say why. In S for you? No. You could put it in S when you're doing your version of the tier list. But... now, for why put the gay rail in S? I hate this thing. I mean, in D. I hate this thing. It's so stupid. That little, like, horn thing right there looks really dumb. This whole area just feels so fragile. Right here. Why is that like that? Why is that like that? You could put armor there. I know you could. Why? I hate this. It's so stupid. Why is this like this? And it's like... it's like, you can kind of tell that the head is precious, so no, I hate it. I actually do like this part. This part, the way it's like that, but it's like, feels more normal, is actually a good predecessor to the Greys, but you can feel that this was developed, or like designed after the Greys as an in-universe predecessor. And it's like, you're supposed to not be able to tell, but it is interesting how this is like, invokes the Zaku 1. These parts here are just kind of dumb. They're cool, but they're kind of dumb. And it's like, I don't like anything about it, and that's why it goes right at the bottom. Okay, fine, I can go, no, right at the bottom, yeah. Okay, the Hyakuren. The head is crazy, in good ways and bad ways. So we're not even going to touch on that much. Finally, a mobile suit with a decently armored torso. I mean, no, because the Gusion had a decently armored torso. But the arms are very nice. The arms are probably my favorite aspect of this. The way this part is shaped is interesting. It gives an interesting vibe. As to these like bars here and here. It's got very big thighs. It almost looks just like barely obese. But I do really like this one. The arms are, like I said, are very cool. The way the shoulders are is very interesting. And it is also interesting how the knees work, and that should give decent protection when the knee is bent, which is pretty cool. I do really like the way this is, particularly the fact that you can still see the pistons, so it keeps that like Ironblood Orphans aesthetic. And it is going to go right here, actually probably right here. Okay, the Schwalbe Custom. I actually really like this. I kind of regret not getting it last time they reprinted it. So you got a lot of the Schwalbe Grays parts that are like, so you got like the lower legs of the Grays, which of course are amazing. These like thrusters here are perfect. They're perfect. I love them. As are these ones. The head with the like two antennae there is very cool. The shield is like, it's a nice small shield, and it suits the design perfectly with the way it's shaped. It's actually kind of similar to the Gundam Double X's shield, now that I think about it. I regret having this thing despite loving it because I don't know where to put it. Oh my god, I just realized that look at that hand. That's so precious. That's only half drawn. That's really funny. But yeah, right at the top of A. And then in a very similar vein, the Schwalbe Grays, which I think actually the cockpit is like a bit more extended. It's got one like more typical commander antenna. This armament is very interesting. I mean, I guess there's a reason they equipped it on Barbatos. It's very cool. I actually really like these thrusters here. Not too crazy about this weapon. It is, I guess. That's all I'd say about it. It is. It exists. The head is, of course, very cool. Not as cool as a Troll by Custom, but it's still very cool. And then most of what else I would have to say about it, I've already said about the Troll by Custom, but it goes like just below Troll by Custom. Okay, this thing, I actually, what was this thing even called? Was this the Gray's Custom 3? Yeah, this is the Gray's Custom 3, one of the Ryuseigos. So it's like definitely got a bunch of Hyakunin parts. It does the like, God Gundam. Yeah, this is the God Gundam for sure. It does the like, oh, so first of all, I think these are a great addition to the like vibe of the Gray's leg. This backpack is interesting. I do like it quite a bit. And this also is another, the cockpit, the way it is very cool. And then the head is like, the way you can see that one like eye is, it's perfect. This shoulder works with the Gray's arm very well. And the fact that this arm is different, if it was a bit more similarly proportioned to this one, I think it'd be a bit better, but it is still, it's very cool. If this one was like replaced with another one of these, that'd be very cool, but keeping the shoulder armor. I actually really like this one a lot. It's one of my favorite Graces. So it's going to go here. Okay. And finally, we're back to another Gundam. This is one of the last Gundams that we're going to cover, I think. But yeah, here we have the Kimaris. This is the version with the booster pack because I actually really like this booster. I do actually, a lot of people didn't like these shoulders, but I actually really liked them, particularly like these parts here. I think the Kimaris Trooper was the biggest downgrade of the century, other than maybe the Kimaris Vidar to the Kimaris. But it almost has similar vibes to the what was it called? I don't remember, but it was like one of the like end game machines from Ringui Senji. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Oh, Kawakali. But the legs, the backpack booster looks suspiciously similar to other makes. Yeah, it's almost like I like it because it's like very, very similar to a Valkyrie's fast pack. It's got to be a coincidence. But yeah, the feet are interesting for a Gundam frame, and I actually do like them quite a bit. I don't like his brain stock, the way his head is tall. That I don't like. This is another Gundam that works out at the gym. I mean, I said it works out at the gym. I'm so foolish. I mean, it works out at the library. But I really like the way that the arms keep the Gundam frame aesthetic while fitting with the vibe of the rest of the Gundam. I have mixed feelings about these vents. They're just kind of eh. They exist. They go with the design. And then the torso is actually decently well covered. Why is that so funny? Working out at the library? I don't know. But the fact that it's funny is why I've said it twice this stream. But this is actually, I don't think I've appreciated this one well enough. I think this is like one of my favorite Gundams, actually. If his head was cooler, he'd go higher. I think I could put in that. I don't know if that would be considered a hot take by many, but okay, the Garm Rhodey, and this is where Astaroth's armor or like shoulder armor comes from. So this is a very different looking Rhodey frame, and it's interesting to see the one frame used for two very different looking mechs, but you can definitely still tell it's a Rhodey frame, which is nice. The head is like, it looks very like, it's a very creature head. I really like this like stock with like the tiny little mono eye right there. It's adorable. But we got another one of my favorite guns. We got the thruster on the back of the leg, which is very nice. If this part was covered, I would like it a lot more. I really don't think that part needs to be exposed right there. That looks like a needless weakness. But the torso is very well covered. It feels like a Star Wars alien. You know what? I think that's what I was thinking that it reminds me of, that I was trying to figure out. That is exactly true. I actually really like this like back of the elbow armor. This does feel like a Star Wars alien. Oh my god. But it definitely gets above the normal one. In fact, it even gets above the weird submarine dude. To be right there. It does feel like a Star Wars alien. Oh my god. Okay, the Gray's Adler. This is one of my favorite Grayses of all time. I absolutely love the Adler. It has very Armored Core vibes, honestly. So it's got one of my favorite rifles in Armored Orphans. Like, it's, the visor especially is what really gets my attention. The visor and the way that, like, these, like, head things. I really wish this thing had a normal line art. I might try and make one. That'd be pretty hard, though. The feet are just, like, I feel like high heels, like the original Grace's leg could probably fit the design more, but it's fine. This is clearly like a high-speed design, though. Is what I'm supposed to say. You know what? I hate you for saying that. I'm gonna ban you. Don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of my speech patterns. Mods, remove his testicles. Anyway, back to the mobile suit. It covers the torso a decent amount while keeping that Iron-Blooded Orphans vibe very well. Builder could have sanded right here a bit better, but it's I mean, this is better than I could do, so. Yeah, this is one of my favorites, and this actually, it's gonna go right here. The second Gray's frame to be an S tier. Here we go, Hagenti. So this is one of the ones, like, Ipe Gobio's designs tend to have this, like, A silhouette, which this one for sure does. The two katanas is very cool, of course. Katanas are always cool. And the shape of the arms. There's a lot of things that's very cool and very interesting, like this armor here. I wonder how that's going to be in any high grade we might get in the future, if we ever do. The V-fin is, at least it's unique. But I can't say I'm a fan. And then the legs, again, it's like, it's cool. It's cool till you get to these knees. I'm really not a fan of these knees, but I am really a fan of these thrusters on the back of the knees. And I'm very much a fan of these legs. Or not legs, the feet. I said legs instead of feet again. This is the second time in the stream they've done that. And the thrusters on the back of the butt. And it's definitely a nice close quarters combat mobile suit. I actually might not even guess this was an Ipe Gubby design like at the very first glance. Can't not see this is Elita 1. Oh my god, it is Elita 1. That's true. And it goes... right there seems good. We'll have to zoom out a bit. There we go. Monkey Roadie. So first of all, it gets bonus points for having monkey in his name because it's a monkey. But it's nice. So if we look at like ways, so this is designed to like reduce costs, right? So we look at ways that it's designed to do that. Less armor. It's particularly on the legs, which are like mostly just landing gear. It has less armor because it doesn't need it. It reuses parts from other mobile suits because that's cheaper. Smoother parts with less like external detail because that's cheaper. Or less moving parts because the head doesn't move. I really like the fact that it's got a traditional mono eye. That's great. And yeah, I actually love the Monkey Roadie, unironically, even apart from the, like, not just because it's called Monkey. And this has the distinction of being the first Roadie above C tier. Right here. Baby Monkey, it is Baby Monkey. Baby Monkey Roadie. What? I just tried to save the webpage on accident. Okay. This one was the Enzo, I believe. So, off the bat, there's some very interesting things here, like the general shape of the leg, the way it flows in an interesting way. And then it's got that same style of like ankle armor that Iron Blooded Orphans likes to use a lot, which is pretty cool. I like it a decent amount. And these vents here is very nice, I think. The face is also very interesting. One thing I can't unsee, this is the Kubelei's face. He's wearing the Kubelei's head as a crest. Here, let me show you guys. Come on. If it'll ever load up. Very pterodactyl. It does kind of like a pterodactyl vibe. Look, see, so I clicked add-on manager. So right there we've got the Kubelei's face. And this like crest. It's like there's no difference. Ever since I noticed that, I can't unsee it. He's wearing a Kubelei as Kubelei's face is his crest. It's impossible to unsee, and now you guys are cursed with it too. Anyway, the shoulder here is pretty cool. It feels almost Votom's like. I wonder if it's inspired by that. And then I'm not actually sure what I don't remember what the deal with these are, but they're cool. I think they're the weapons. Yeah, they are. But then it's got a Gundam-like faceplate. Like if this faceplate was on a Gundam, you wouldn't bat an eye, and that's very cool. In fact, in general, this looks a decent amount like a Gundam frame. You could probably just straight up mount all this armor on a Gundam frame. And it would work perfectly fine. And it's going to go in B, but where in B? Probably right here. Maybe right here. Okay, Kimara's Trooper. That means it's not going to work. Whenever it does that, that means it's not going to work. Okay, so there are some things that I do like about it. Like, I do actually like the head a decent amount more. But it's like, it loses almost everything I liked about it. The feet are still very unique and interesting, and I do like those feet actually quite a bit. The legs are pretty cool, I guess. The fact that it has a trooper mode is interesting, and I do. It was a neat addition. The shoulders like are very minimally armored, and it's done in a way that's that stands out, I think. And I do actually like this piece of armor here. But yeah, I can't really say I'm that big a fan of the Kimara's Trooper. Particularly because it's such a downgrade from the old Kimara's. In fact, this is going to be one of my least favorite Gundam frames. Right there. Or here. Okay, another one of the few ones that we actually know exactly what it looked like in the Calamity War. I think it has interesting feet that they're flat, but it's in a way that sort of works. And I know this used the same sort of like foot design on the high grade because you can literally see it right there. It's very guns. That's how I'll phrase it. It is very guns. I really like these like legs. I believe this is a Kanatani Bikuwa design. It definitely feels like it is. The way that the vents are on the legs is very cool. The head is one of my favorite head designs, and then the shoulders are also very interesting. And I like the fact that they're mostly up instead of out, which is different from most Gundam shoulders. If he was a person, he would breathe like Darth Vader. I feel that is... Well, they all use that C, hate them all. Wow. Shoulder remind me of the Dells from Age. Actually, that's very true. And this is I believe it is a kind of tiny Bikuwa design, so there is possibly some shared lineage there out of universe. But the chest also, particularly the parts like to the side of the cockpit here, are very cool. I have some bug bites that I am putting anti-age cream on. Is why I'm like, why my model is why I'm looking down because they're on mostly on my legs. You know what's confusing is when you get like a mosquito bite on your butt. It's like, how does the mosquito intentionally go like up your pants? Like, how could it accidentally get up there? I don't understand. Like just how does that ever happen? You don't need to look. Just need to listen. Sorry, that was a sort of inside joke that I have with this nerd. But anyway, yeah, and particularly that like this is like that's definitely vents there, but it's like it's an interesting way of like hiding it so it's like more unique as the design. And then also like the drawing the eyes on there because you know it has to have those eyes, but like that was a good place for that. So this is gonna go pretty high, probably right here. Okay, another one that should go pretty high, the Rhine-Glaze Julia, that looks almost nothing like the normal Rhine-Glaze. So first off, I really like these like sword things. I guess they're more like spears. The way that like the leg like flows like that, it's very nice. And especially like this is like one of the Muscafritos. That's so true. Like the way that the chest like points forward is very nice, and this like piece of armor there, it's perfect. It's perfect. These armor pieces there are very nice. It doesn't have the fact that it doesn't have like normal hands is interesting. I feel like it couldn't have been that difficult for the designers, like the in-universe designers, to give it hands. So it's an a design choice, but it's still it's cool. It works. And then the it's got a butt thruster, very important. Definitely not good for ground use though, with how those legs are. You would never know that those swords segmented wood things on line art, would you? Indeed not. Which I kind of wish you could, like at least small lines, but of course I would always use them as swords. But you know, it goes. Is this gonna be a number 1? Probably just below Bale, actually. Or not Bale, I just said Bale. Actually, probably just below the Marcosius, though. Okay, the Regal Lily. So this keeps some of the aspects I don't like about the armor types from the Gabriel. It has interestingly Dom-like vibe here. And I think it's probably directly supposed to be a Dom analogy. I'm not sure what this little bit here is supposed to accomplish. But this part feels bulbous compared to like a lot of it like feeling more blocky, which I'm not a big fan of. I think these like bars here look pretty dumb, but I do like how the detailing there and there is consistent. And then the horns are a bit odd, but in general I'm not a big fan of this. It goes right at the top. Hey, right at the top of D. It's a dumb elephant indeed. I don't remember the name of this one. Let me quickly take a look. What was that one called? It's the Hat Dude. It's just the Hat Dude. That's just what it's called now. Was this the... Hang on. Nope. That one's that one. I'm looking to see if I can, like, find which one it is. I really like the fact that it has a hat, though. Where is it? God damn it! I can't remember what this one's called. Was it this one? No, probably not. Does anybody in the chat remember what this one is called? The thing is, I'm not gonna be able to, like, find it by searching up, like, the hat dude. You know? But that's in my head, I just call it the hat dude. Okay, that's what it was. How do I pronounce that? Triania. This is the Triania. It's got, so as you might guess by the fact that I call it the hat dude, the hat is the most interesting feature. I don't know why it's a hat. I don't know if it's supposed to look like a hat in universe, but it's got these like interesting slits on, like, on all the armor, which I'm not sure why for that either. Maybe for like heat dissipation. But it's got a bit of like just a tiny bit of the elf shoe vibe there going there. It is a bit similar to the normal Hyakuren, which I do enjoy a bit, and then but it still keeps a lot of the same elements. I do actually really like these shoulders. I think I do actually unironically like this better than the normal Hyakuren, which is kind of funny considering I most remember it for having a hat. Triania? No, this is the hat dude. I don't know why it has to hold the knife there instead of having it holding it like a normal handle, though. I think that's kind of dumb. Yeah, right there. Okay, the normal Rhine glaze. This is specifically Eox. So I really like these parts here. Again, are we surprised? I mean, it keeps the grace this way that it's like, you know, it flows. I think these shoulders look really dumb. But yeah, the legs flow. These parts also look really dumb. I think it should have some kind of skirt armor. I think that'll look better. This part feels a bit flat, but it's this pointy part there in the middle is at least nice. And then it's got a very Graze-like head. It's pretty much the normal Graze head, but with this like bit there that I don't think is very cool. So it's basically just a slight downgrade of the normal Graze in terms of design. So crazy how far down that pushes it. Okay, the Callisto. Another thing that's based on the Teiwa's frame. But this one looks pretty different. Namely, its arms are quite long. And then it almost looks like it's like using a power armor itself, which is kind of funny. Because like these, like they're not connected, but it like gives the like, they are in silhouette. Excuse the yawn. This part also is like interesting, but it's like it's got a like a hooded vibe, which is nice. I like the way that these are there. And it's got like a skeletal vibe here, which flows with the pistons there. And then again, it's got redesigned legs that are thinner because like oh, that's very high res. I didn't realize how high res that was, or rather, I didn't remember. That's because better things are literally the Astro's shoulder binders. Oh my god, that's true. Sprockets, hello, welcome to the stream. But it's decidedly my favorite Teiwa's frame, and it gets right there. Okay. Groomgarrett. Nobody should be surprised that I like this thing. Is anybody surprised? This is one of my favorites. So this piece of armor there, very nice. The head is extremely nice, and it goes with the Valkyrie idea quite well. She's very beautiful. And then there's the these, like, the idea of the these like shields on each arm where the swords are inside of them is very cool, and also the way it like crosses its arms to draw the swords because of that is very nice. The legs don't flow together as well. The legs don't flow together as well with the grays, but they still flow together pretty well. What's kind of funny is that this thing is basically the tall geese. This thing's role in the plot is almost exactly the same as the tall geese. Like, the mask-wearing antagonist, who is also occasionally sort of on the protagonist's side, pilots this, which is a non-Gundam machine that can go up against a Gundam. And he pilots that before later switching to a Gundam-type machine. And it's the predecessor to all of the, like, mass production mobile suits of its day. This thing is basically the tall geese. You spoiled me. You already know all those things. Anyway, I don't like it as much as the Grace Adler, but I do like it more than Bale, I think. Okay, next, one of the other thing that Irex requested that I make sure not to leave out, the Shiden. So it is kind of interesting that the head looks almost the same as the Human Reform League soldiers' pilot helmets in Gundam 00. And I think this is designed by Takayuki Anase, who did work on 00. I don't know if he specifically designed that helmet, but I would guess he probably did, based on the fact that this looks similar. So I will say it's like baseball bat weapon is pretty dumb. Like, come on, you can do better than that. The feet are very cool and interesting. It's definitely got, like, the way that's mostly like straight lines is very cool. You can see some of that interesting detail under there. Oops, peeking under its skirt. Sorry about that. But the arms are very nice. It's almost like wearing like a half jacket, which is kind of funny. But sometimes it can be hard to tell, like this clearly is inner frame, but this is inner frame and they're the exact same color. This probably isn't, this definitely is, but then this probably isn't again. But from sometimes I have to guess, like, what's inner frame and what's not. Like, for instance, that, which I'm guessing is probably maybe not. But from my guessing, and it seems to have, like, a pretty good coverage of armor. The way that, like, its, like, take on the Mono-Eye is pretty cool and interesting. I really like the backpack. The shoulders are also quite nice. Fairly small. Never liked this one for some reason. Huh. Well, like I said, my main gripe... Oh, I do, of course, this got thrusters in the back of the knees. Have to love that. But I will say, the main thing I have bad to say about it is that its baseball bat weapon is really dumb. But yeah, it's one of my favorite grunts. But of course, it is not as good as the Greys. It never will be. Speaking of Greys, this is the Grey's Ein, which keeps the top part of the Grey's leg, but then the bottom part is different, but it still keeps that same vibe. This one's also massive. And both the arms and legs definitely are, go with that. But I do wonder if this might have been part of the inspiration for the Barbatos' arms being lengthened when it was turned into the Lupus, because if you look at its, like, arm proportions, this side is definitely a lot longer. I'm not the biggest fan of these shoulders. That's my biggest gripe about this design, but it's still, that's not nearly enough to ruin the design for me. Especially the fact that, like, come on, you have this giant ass shoulder and then these parts are still, like, exposed. What? But the head is one of my favorite parts of this design. It's great. And like, it goes with its, like, monstrous appearance so perfectly. Yeah, this is I almost bought a high grade of this very recently, actually. And it does barely manage to get into S tier. Okay, now the XK. So the fact that it's like blind is a neat choice. It's interesting and unique. The shoulders are not nearly as cool, but they're pretty cool still. It does seem to have a high reliance on the gun because I don't think it has the pistol. So it's neat that it actually brings the rifle into like out of obscurity. The feet are some of the most interestingly designed feet I've seen in all of Gundam. They look backwards almost. But especially considering this is mostly a space use mobile suit and these are primarily landing gear, it does sort of make sense. Prototype for the mobile suit that does almost nothing, yeah. The backpack is like, it's interesting that it still keeps an interesting, like a similar, like, job as the original backpack, or as like the I guess its successor unit's backpack. The waist is even worse. Come on, you can do something to cover that up, Vidar. That was actually a mistake. But definitely it being at the top is a lot less good for, like, you know, effectiveness. We'll put that right there. Okay, the downgrade of the century, Kimara's Vidar. It is still very cool, but, like, come on. Vidar, the normal Vidar is so much cooler. I will say this is one of my favorite head designs of all time in terms of face and V-fin. This thing kind of ruins it a bit, but it still is very cool. The shoulders are pretty neat. I really like this chest a lot. The chest is great. These binders are also very cool. I almost feel Gundam Thunderbolt-like. The hands feel like they taper a bit too much, but they're still very cool. The legs being black feels a bit abrupt, but the skirt is very nice, and these are some of my favorite heels. So I do actually like this almost as much as the original. Okay, so the other Teiwaz, or like version of the Teiwaz frame, the what was it? Was this the Roway? I think this was the Roway. Yeah. So, somewhat Dom-like legs in terms of like how wide they are compared to the rest of it. Although I don't think this hovers like the Dom. It's interesting because I think this is supposed to like hide the fact that they were the Teiwaz frame, but it's like it doesn't do that at all. The head is interesting. It's almost similar to Vidar's mask, but it works a lot better than it does on the Vidar itself, or like on Vidar's mask itself. Euroway, indeed. The backpack is very cool. The arms are almost exactly the same. Most of the legs are very similar. The torso is almost exactly the same, so I don't have that much to say about it, but I do like it better. But not as much as the Hat Man. Okay, the Hajiraboshi Alicorp. This is probably my least favorite version of Hajiraboshi. It's still very cool, but I just tend to like the bulky units a bit less. It's nice that almost all the armor is like a different color. The fact that it like armors up the feet is interesting. You don't usually see that. The arms also, I like the shape of them having been armored up. It's a neat shape. Actually, I think I like these versions of the thrusters a bit more. Long lost throne unit. That is so true. This actually does look like a throne unit. It actually does armor up the torso a bit more, but still, it should armor up the torso more than it does, considering it's like an armored up version. It's basically a full armor one, but it still doesn't armor up the torso. What gives? It does feel like a heavy throne unit, though. So it gets right here. Such feet and so shoulder. Indeed. Okay, number 1 mobile suit in Iron-Blooded Orphans with a normal person named the Hugo. It has a very, like, almost Metal Gear-like head, which is interesting. These feet are also crazy. And the fact that it's reverse jointed is nice. We don't see that much reverse jointed mecha nowadays, so it's nice when we do get one. Or get some. The single cable there feels odd, but it is cool. Again, so with this design how it is, then like the way it's just like this feels, with the way that this is like flat there and flat here, this feels like thin waist for the sake of thin waist. Not in a way that it doesn't seem to like flow with the design very well. But I do really like this part, the way that like the head armor like goes into the torso armor. The shoulders is my favorite torsos ever. I don't really like these weapons that much though. It feels weird and unnecessary. But it's so crazy. Crazy enough to get this spot. And then finally, that's one of the ones that did not load. Or rather, it's like it tried not to load there. Okay, which was this? Hang on, I actually don't remember which one this is, but it was... If I go to my Discord server, it was requested that I do this one, so... It is... Okay, wait, this one's the Garm Roadie. I thought the other one I did was the Garm Roadie, so what's the other one, then? Okay, which one did I... Was that the Spinner Roadie? The one I called... The one that looked like a Star Wars... I mean, this one also looks like a Star Wars alien. Okay, the other one that I accidentally called the Garm Roadie is the Spinner Roadie. This is the Garm Roadie. It's similar to the Spinner Roadie, honestly. The head, it's like, it feels like an alien head. I do like this bar there, though. That makes sense for where it is. The torso, it does actually go with it pretty well. And I do really like this gun. These armor here is pretty cool, and it makes sense for what it is. As well as the shoulder shield. It's weird to see a shoulder shield on that side, though. Because I'm used to being on that side. Because it usually is. But other than that, it's like very similar to the Spinner Roadie, so I do like it a bit more than the Spinner Roadie, though. No, a bit less. I don't know. I like it very similar to Spinner Roadie. So, is there anything I want to change? I'll have to actually make it a bit smaller so you guys can see it all. Okay. There we go. Oh, I can do that. That helps everything so much. And then... Okay, is there anything else I want to change? I'm actually surprised at how many Gundam frames are in S tier. No Gray's Richter? What? I mean, there was the Gray's Ritter right here. Come on. There we go. Unless I'm wrong and that somehow isn't the Gray's Ritter. Yeah, it is. Well, technically it's the Gray's Ritter Commander type, but whatever. It is interesting how like all of the Valkyrie frames are all at the top. And there's also a decent amount of Gray's frames at the top too. Yeah, like almost half the ones at the top are Gray's frames. Yeah, this is probably, I think I'm happy with that. This is, I don't think there's really anything I want to change. Except putting that down there. Maybe that. Yeah. You know what? One thing I forgot to say about this one. He's a tennis ball. Tennis. That's that color. That's tennis. Statue. Grace Statue. Which one was that one? Oh, is that one? Yeah, the Grace Statue is very cool, and I actually considered doing it, but the only thing I would really have much to talk about is like the like it's mostly the same, and I would have put it like right in front of the normal grays. Actually, I want to put it above. Again, actually, why did I put that there? When I could have put it there. Yeah. This is probably good. Okay. Well, is there... So, I must say again that, Wait. My brain died. Oh, so that'll be the end of the stream. If you, wish to help support me monetarily, there's a link in all the places to my, Patreon. That's the best way to support me monetarily. And you would also get, early access to basically all my content, as well as Patreon exclusive content. So definitely consider joining there. It's I think $5 a month. I might actually make it at 4. Actually, it might already be 4. I don't know. You can go find it yourself if you want. But yeah, definitely consider joining that. And there is also, of course, subscribing on Twitch. I'm actually not so pained by this list. I actually thought you would be way more pained. I might actually. I don't know. I'll keep it how it is. It's fine. Anyway, but yeah, thank you all for watching. I appreciate you all for being here, and there is actually someone to raid this time. I didn't forget to look until, I didn't, almost forget to look. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a good list. And go, my raiders! And for those of you who did not go, or YouTube watchers, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.